everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paint with Heart. I am Cindy Harrison, your host at Paint with Heart Studios here in New Hampshire, and I want to introduce you to my co-host, best friend, our woman about town. Here she is, Melissa Reyes.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Reyes, the woman about town, and I'm here in Southern California, and I'm happy to be with you here today. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about the word of the week this coming week. It's calm. And that is exciting, I guess, because I need to calm. I need to have some calm in my life. It's been a very, very busy time. And I actually recorded a podcast yesterday about calm. And I was very stressed at the time. So I had to really take some time to think about it. And I read from an excerpt from my book, and it was about, I just decided to go for it. I read all about fears and how to get over your fears with gratitude, and that fears and gratitude can't coexist. And that helped me to calm down so that I could think about what I like to do to take those moments to really calm myself. And one of the things I love to do is be here on Paint with Heart and to do painting. And today we're going to have a wonderful scene that Cindy has designed that I think is going to be very calming. What is it about, Cindy?
Oh, you want to know what we're doing today, do
Mm-hmm.
you? Okay, I will tell you.
And the title is, can I tell them the title?
Come Sail Away.
Yay, come sail away.
Because if you don't have to man the rigging, I think sailing's really relaxing.
And that scene is just so beautiful too. I love the little forefront.
Yeah, I have this little sailboat that's in this bay area. And this piece, as some of you are here today had requested and said, gave me the vision of what to paint. And this is a Betty Caithness inspired project. Betty Caithness is an artist out of Virginia. She's passed on. She passed away late last year, right before Christmas. And but she was a wonderful artist. She has beautiful patterns out there if you find them in D-stash areas of Facebook. But here is inspired. She would typically have a New England feel to it or a Virginian feel to it, the cliffs, some land, some hydrangea bushes, the ocean, the sky, and it's all really beautiful and soft and lying on top of a modeled background. So I'm going to show you how to do this model background. And today I'm doing it on just a panel, but this is a bentwood box, and I'm going to show you how she finished her outside edges of her boxes at the end. So here I have my panel, and I'm not going to bother going and buying expensive plastic wrap. I just have this Dollar Tree bag, and I'm going to use that. And actually, I'm going to cut it up. I base coated the piece with a mixture of khaki, tan, and warm white. Put 2 coats of that on there. And now, take this, and what I like to do, because I don't really want a whole lot of a flat side, so I'm going to put the middle in my fingers like that, and then wrap the rest around it so it's scrunched up. Lots of scrunchies. You can tighten the top, don't tighten it all the way down to the bottom. You want to be able to have this be, somewhat open so you cover a larger area. The other piece, we're going to leave flat. Take your burnt umber And I'm going to use my 3/4 inch flat brush. And there's lots of water. See how soupy that is? Lots of water in here. And I'm going to brush this over the whole surface. And if I need to add water, add some water in there. But keep it moving, keep it moist, go over the same area you just put on. Make sure everything's wet. And then you take the flat one and you put that on top. And you can smush it together. Make sure it's touching on all the edges. Smush together. And then lift it off and see what pattern it makes. If you have too many areas that are too dark, you can go over, smush it again, and pull it again. And it takes it off and lightens some of those areas. I'm gonna throw that out.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't it cool?
Yes, I like it. That's pretty cool. So that's what gave it that texture.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to dry that. Now what we're going to do is take the Dove Gray. And I'm going to put that here. Now, if you have little, lids of sorts, you can just do this in the lid and not waste your palette paper. But I'm going to put that there. I'm going to take my big 3/4 inch flat brush and I'm not painting this with the brush. The brush is only picking up water and stirring it in here to make it loose. You can use a palette knife or a popsicle stick, whatever you want to do, but you want this to be very watery. You can paint your palette a nice 2x3 area of very loose paint. And then you're going to pick up that scrunched up one that you made, and you can actually take the excess off your brush and put it on your plastic bag. Now, when you do that, go over here and see what kind of design that you make. Wipe off the excess and then come over here and put it on your surface.
So you're kind of blotting it first before you put it down.
Right, just to kind of eliminate any real excess of stuff. I don't want big puddles of paint.
Mm.
So, see?
That looks fun.
So now I'm going to wipe this back.
I'm so happy to see everybody here today. Helene and Cheryl and Kathy and Julia. And I'm sorry, what's your granddaughter's name, Cheryl?
Maddie.
Maddie. Oh, Maddie. I bet she's having fun painting. Here she's waving to me. I see her hand. I bet she's having fun painting with a plastic baggie.
Next color I'm doing is the Snow White. And again, just like we did the Dove Gray, and you can even use the same part of your bag, or you can turn the bag inside out and use a new section of bag. Either way, get the excess off your brush, go like this, tap it out a little bit, and then bring that over top of what you just put on. I always start with light pressure until I see what I have on my bag, my baggie. So this is a typical background for a Betty Caithness design. So when I'm done, throw that in the garbage. Well, I'm gonna blow dry this so you can. Okay, so I'm putting my design on here now with my graphite paper. Now see how that curled up? You know what that means?
Hot? It was hot from the air?
No, it means this isn't dry yet.
Oh.
Although it's dry to the touch, it's still full of moisture. It's not fully dry yet.
That
Isn't
was
that interesting?
Yeah, science.
Remember the fish that you put on your hand and it curled up?
Yeah. Yeah. A little parlor trick.
Right.
So
that means that the graphite might not take too. The graphite doesn't like sticking to wet surfaces. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, the Paint Box of the Month for April is now available. I know Cheryl already ordered 2 for her and Maddie, so I'm going to ship those out this week. I found some 6-inch clay pots that aren't your typical lipped, you know, the ridge ones. They're just straight all the way up. So I'm going to paint on those because I think that'll make a nice garden scene. I can get the whole area done and not just, you know, from there down. I can get cover the whole thing. It'll be awesome. Now that we've got that done, we're going to start at the sky level and bring it down. The first color we're going to use is French gray blue. And I'm still going to use my 3/4 inch wash brush. Get all that brown paint and all those other paint colors out of there. Take your wet brush, pre-wet that area. Make sure you can see your landmass and your horizon line. Pick up the corner of your brush, that blue color, and we're going to start at the top, and we're going to make long strokes back and forth. Work it out because you want it to be a wash. You do not want to cover up all that mottled background that you just did.
I hate to say it, but right now that looks like a floor tile. You just created a beautiful floor tile.
I know it. Isn't that exciting? You don't have to go pay big money. You can make your own.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them.
Seriously? So what you're going to do is you're going to bring this color down till about, I don't know, halfway. A little more than halfway, maybe. Don't go over your land area. You're going to bring it down to right about the top of your land area. And I'll hit that with a blow dryer.
I wish she finds the prettiest blow dryer. Did you decorate that blow dryer?
No, that's why I bought it.
No. I live with boys. We have to get manly looking blow dryers.
Purple and pink.
Oh my gosh, that's so pretty.
But it doesn't really, I don't use it because it doesn't really dry my hair well.
Oh, it's perfect then for this.
Okay, so now find that horizon line.
Your head is in the way.
Sorry. I'm trying to see my line here.
There you go.
You see my gray hairs?
Yes.
Okay. Find your horizon line. And we're going to take Antique Mauve or some kind of a muted pinky color. We don't need a whole lot of it. If that's dry, you should be able to pre-wet over it and not wash it off. And then I'm going on the corner of my brush, pick up some of that pinky color, wipe most of it off, and find where that line is and go right against that edge. This is like a sunrise or a sunset, depending on where you live in the world. And you can bring it over the ground a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you don't put it on your grass though. Don't get it on the grass. Now, guess what we go back to? The French gray blue. And that's going to be the rest of the water. So you can pre-wet. It's not getting it on the grass, not getting it on the cliff. It's just going to be, and this one here, if you end up putting more on your brush, that's okay. Start at the top of the water. Make sure you stay above the grass. Bring it down. This is like just a traditional wash. Bring it down the cliff, across the bottom. And it's okay if it's streaky. Do not totally obliterate your model background. And I'm going to blow dry that. Now I'm going to work on the grass and the cliff, as long as those other areas are dry, because you don't want them bleeding into it. The grass is Hauser medium green. And I'm actually going to use my 8 flat. So we can pre-wet this area with clean water. You can do that because it's a nice beginning. Next, I'm going to add cocoa. And I'll go back to my big 3/4 inch wash brush. Pre-wet. Just don't get up into the green. I'm blow drying, Melissa. Talk away.
Oh,
Here. Okay, I'm gonna do some side loading now. So we're gonna darken some of the areas on the grass. We're gonna darken the areas on the cliff and in the water. And then we're gonna put our boat in. So on the grass, I deepened some of the grass with plantation pine. And I'm gonna take my 12 flat. And you can either pre-wet or with the wet brush. With the wet brush, pick up some of that color on the corner and just work it out. And I'm going to put it across the top of the grass area. I'm not being really overly picky about this side load. I'm just kind of just tucking that color in. And then we're going to tuck it in, turn it over, and we're going to tuck it into the cliff areas here, depending on where. So again, on this side, you can do the C stroke on this outer side if you want, and then bring it in the bottom, and we're gonna bring it across the top. Let me get there. And you can streak some lines through the middle if you want to. Go like that so you can see it. I'm going to use Asphaltum, and that's it. And it's not Asphaltum because it's like asphalt, A-S-P-H, P-H-A-L, Phaltum. I say that because a lot of people get that wrong. And I'm going to first put this color underneath the grassy areas. You can do a pre-wet if your grass is dry, or you can just go and do this side load. I'm going to quickly hit that with the blow dryer. So now, if you didn't put your lines in, you can go ahead and do that. But I'm going to wing it because I've done so many of her designs. Like I had said before, I think that my family room is all this design, this palette. So I've done this so many times. I know what I'm doing.
I'd hope so.
Yeah, well, I'm glad someone knows what they're doing, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go down the outer side of this cliff. Now I'm going to work on the ocean. So you can pre-wet or just pick up on your water-laden brush some Payne's Gray. I'm going to go across the horizon line. I do want less paint, more water. So if you have too much paint on your brush, just take some of the paint off with a clean brush, and that will water it down. And then I'm going to try and just go across, skipping it, and I'm going to get a little darker right here at the base of this cliff into that water area, and then moisture, moisture, moisture. Back and forth, back and forth. Ooh, too much paint. Stay out of the grass area. If you want to put a little bit more of the French blue gray back in, you can add some hints of that. And then this is where I would go in and pick up the white, the snow white, and kind of chisel some of that in here. Just chopping. I'm just chopping for right now. Now I'm going to put the line drawing from my sailboat back on. I'm using my #1 round to paint the sails and boat with snow white. And it will take probably 2 to 3 coats to cover solid. This is where you do want the paint to cover over the background design with a solid effect. The mast, that pole that holds the sails, and the one that steers the back sail is Payne's Gray. So you can use your 1 round or your 10-aught liner. Put that down right into the top of that boat and across the bottom with a little bit of a tether to the back tail of the end of the boat. Whatever that means, whatever that's called. I'm also going to attach this sail to the mast in the front. Payne's Gray is also going to be these little windows.
Yeah, I think that's the boom.
What's a boom?
The long one that comes out from the bottom of the sail.
The one down here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
I'm going to paint the bottom. What's the bottom part there that is in the water?
Is that the rudder? No, I don't know. The
It's
bottom
the
part.
bottom part. I'm going to do that and the flag with heritage brick.
If I knew that there was going to be a test on this, I would have studied.
And then painting right over the white.
The hull.
The hull. There you go.
See, Lito remembers all this stuff. Your best friend over here who knows everything is shouting out the answers.
Yeah. He and I can have lots of conversation. Don't forget the flag. That seems to be going in the opposite direction of the wind.
The pirate flag.
Yeah. That's also that color. I have a crooked bit.
Beautiful.
It's crooked. It's okay.
Perfect.
We're going to fix that in a second. I'm going to go down to my 10-aught liner. Very, very thin liner brush because I want to pick up some of that Payne's gray. And I want to do this line that's just below the top deck, a very narrow line. Now there's also this, I want to say fenced area. It's some kind of a guard so that if people get up there to tie the boat down, they don't fall in the water, I guess. I don't know. What do you think, Melissa?
That's called the fenced area, so when people go up, they don't fall in the water. That's so great. It's a railing.
A railing.
Yes, it's at the bow. It's the bow at the front.
It's up there.
Yeah, little railing at the bow.
Oh my goodness.
I just lay out up there and suntan.
And hold on to tie yourself to the railing so you don't fall over.
Yeah. Well, if it's calm seas like you've got there, you just lay out there. It's fine. And it just has this soft rocking motion up and down like this. Up and down. So nice.
Now I'm going to do a little bit of, where is it? Number 8 flat. And some water in my brush. I'm going to do a side load, but you can pre-wet. And I'm going to take this color and go across the bottom of the sail here. And if you have a mop brush, go ahead and mop that out. And I'm going to go across this one in the front. And then across that piece, I'm going to go with the paint on top of over the windows. Does that make sense? So the paintbrush is on top of the deck, and then going across. We're also going to do one at the front of the boat. Mop that out. And we can do one at the back of the boat. Mop that out. Next, I'm going to go down or up the inside of the sail against the mast. And I'm going to do the same on this one. For a highlight on the flag, pick up a little bit of that white, and what I want you to do is pre-wet your flag and kind of just touch in the center with that highlight, flip your brush over it and touch that paint in the center again, and then tap it out. If you lost your white highlight on your sails, go ahead and hit it back in.
That looks really pretty, Cindy. Your little windows look like like hearts. Not intentional, I know, but they do.
One of them does, yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, yeah. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is go back to my 3/4 inch. Well, let's go back to the liner brush for a second. There's a silly little thing here I did. I put a buoy out there so you don't crash into the cliff.
Smart.
And basically, I took the heritage brick and I put a foundation, and then I made a triangle. And then I made a topper. So if I knew what a Dalek looked like for exactly sure from Doctor Who, I would say this looks like a Dalek.
Are you gonna paint on some seals at the base of it?
No.
Oh, this is a floating buoy.
This is a floating buoy. But I did do a little darkness at the base of the legs and the top piece, and I'm going to do a little bit of a couple white strokes at the bottom and a stroke on this side and a little dot on there. Is anyone really going to notice it much? No, but it's there. And then I'm going to take my 12-inch flat and some of the white, Snow White, and on the chisel of my brush, without water in it, I'm going to tap some in there at the base of the cliff, and I'm going to tap some in at the base of the boat. And it can kind of ripple itself away from the boat. You can kind of tap some in. I can pick some up, tap some in here and there. I'm on the chisel and I'm just at a 45-degree angle, tapping it in. You can also put some back here if you want, crashing against the cliff. There you go. Do that. I'm going to take out, if you have clean puddles of paint, I want Hauser, medium, and the plantation pine. Now, I want a deerfoot brush, but it's downstairs, so I'm gonna use my dome brush. And I'm gonna pick up some plantation pine, and I'm just going to pounce this color in like bushes. So after you get all the plantation pine on there, I'm going to go back in with the Hauser medium green, and I'm going to hit the top of some of these areas, and then about midway down, make a little tuft. So we'll go on the top, and then we'll make a little tuft somewhere else. And this way here, it gives it dimension, like there's layers to your depth to your bushes. I don't like using a dome brush because it's too solid. I like using the Deerfoot stippler because it is a little more airy. But I'm not going downstairs one more time today, unless it's to go to dinner. Okay. When that's done, you can decide what color your hydrangeas are. I have some that are pink and some that are blue. The pink ones I started with the Heritage brick, and I put little dots of the Heritage brick first, and then picked up the antique mauve and touched on top with the antique mauve, not to cover the Heritage brick completely. And if you want to add a little highlight, mix that antique mauve and just touch on top of that. Again, I'm not layering it one layer on top of the other. I'm layering it so you can still see the dark, medium, and light. The blue ones are, we can put Payne's Gray first. And then the French Blue Gray. And then mix that with some of the white. And there you got your blue hydrangeas. And you're all done. If you want to, you can add a lighthouse. You can add an actual house. You can put some houses over here. We can deepen some of the cliffs. There's any number of things you can do. Add more ships, more boats. But I did want to show you one thing, what I call selective antiquing. It really should be spray sealed with an acrylic spray sealer. I'm going to use transparentizing medium. And for instance, on the cliffs, I'm going to use a burnt umber oil paint. And I know in the older days, they used oil paint for antiquing. Usually it was just the burnt umber, and they rubbed it over the whole thing. And I decided that I'm not that kind of a girl. I kind of like having it selective and using the color that pertains to that area. So in this case, when I do the cliffs, I'll do the burnt umber, but when I do the ocean, I'll do a Payne's Gray. And if I do the grass, I'll use a sap green. So I'm going to pick up some of this gel medium in my liner brush. And I have separate brushes for that, different than what I use for acrylics. I'm going to pick up some of the burnt umber and mix it into the brush. And I'm going to go over to an area, and with my bristle hair brushes, I'm going to rouge this away from the top or away from the edge. And I think this just makes it look, it's just a little bit richer. It bumps it up just a little bit more. Now, if you don't like what you've done with it, you don't want it there, you take your magic rub eraser and you can erase it right off. Providing you had done the sealing it first. See how it richened the tone, I should say.
Definitely.
It's got more pigment, a little richer tone to it. So I would do that on the cliffs, like I said, sap green on the green areas and Payne's gray on the blue areas. And these are soap and water cleanup after. You can soap and water clean up the brushes, the oil painting brushes. So it's just like cleaning off your greasy fried chicken dish. Okay, that's what it is. It's just grease, oil. Okay.
The Ajax.
Yeah.
What's it called? One that gets the grease out.
Dawn?
Dawn.
You're funny. So the thing about the sides and the bottom of the box. So now that I finished the top part of the box, I want to show you how to do a faux finish around the sides. I started with cocoa. I base coated the sides and the bottom of the box with cocoa. And I'm going to do two kinds of faux finish. This one is going to look like the outer edge of this one. So I'm going to reproduce that. And I'm going to do that with burnt umber and using a hotel key card. Let's start on the back side. So when you're looking at it, this would be the back side. Take some clean water, mix it with your paint. And I'm going to start. I varnished, I told you, the top so that if I get paint over the top, I can easily wipe it off. And it's not very thick. You can still see some of the background through it. Go around a little bit more. And then I'm going to take the credit card and I'm going to use a short end. And if the lines go back to the way they were, then you have too much water. So let's go back and we'll add some more paint. And just bring it around. And if you get some on the side, you can wipe it off. See how it's starting to look? Like I said, if it gets too dry, just go back over. Add water. Wipe off excess. You can do this with a palette knife too. So that's how you get that look all the way around. So either blow dry that or let it dry on its own. If you blow dry it, it has a better chance of not blending back into each other if there's too much water on it. The next finish I want to show you, and I'm going to do it on the flat side first, is going to be again with this wash of burnt umber, but then with a sprinkling splash of rubbing alcohol. So put a little bit in here. So with the diluted burnt umber, just slapped on there. Pick some of the rubbing alcohol and flick that on there. And then it creates cells. So then you do small sections around the side, and we're going to do that to the side as well. On the top I added a house, a lighthouse, and a roof, and another house over here. So for the line drawing and instructions on how to paint these additional subjects can be found in my pattern packet available on cindyharrisonart.com under Paint with Heart.
Well, thank you so much for having me be here with you, Cindy, and everybody on your Come Sail Away Paint with Heart Day. I love that sailboat. I really do. And the texture and techniques that you shared today were really different. I loved it. And I'm really looking forward to this week of calm. Think that sets the tone for the whole week, and I hope everybody has a really nice week. Find your bliss. Do the thing that makes you feel wonderful. That's what I have to say to that. So I would love to know from each person here, if you have a moment, what it is besides painting that you do to find your bliss. That would be pretty cool. Okay. But if we have time, but I know we're saying goodbye, so I hope everybody has a wonderful week.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Yeah, we'll take time to do that after I say my goodbye. So until next time, remember to always paint with heart. Thank you and good night.